Hey, what's up everybody? This is Nightwing2303 from sneakerfiles.com on court. Today we got another performance review for you. And today it is on the Nike Zoom KD4. So here's a quick look at the shoe. And as usual, let's just get right into it. Alright, so as usual, we'll start off with the bottom of the shoe here. You have a storytelling traction, which is at least similar in a way as far as like the Thunderbolts are designed to herringbone. However, it is a completely flat surface. So upon first impression, I thought that the traction on these guys was going to be horrible. Based on the fact that everything is very flat and smooth. I was wrong in my first impression. The rubber that they used it's a very strange kind of rubber. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just kind of sticky. So it is very thick and it is durable. It's not noted on this particular pair that this was XDR as far as the outsole rubber goes, but on the pair that I got from overseas, which is it was the Year of the Dragons, those came with the XDR tag, so I'm assuming that this is all the same stuff. It all feels the same. So basically, with this being such a sticky type of rubber, if you were playing on a perfectly clean floor, this traction is absolutely perfect. It's quite honestly, it was amazing. You gripped yourself to the floor perfectly. There is no slipping, no sliding. Even the exterior area here at the medial ball of the foot location, that was perfect, especially for pushing off or turning around screens, curling, things like that. The outrigger is smooth, so again, you would assume that you'd get absolutely no traction, but because it was such a sticky type of rubber, it was so awesome. I can't even explain it. If you're on a clean floor, this shoe's traction surface is just bar none like one of the better traction based sneakers I've had in a while, due to the rubber compound. So but if you're playing on a dusty floor, which I did do in these, and traction was absolutely horrible. So if you're going to play on a dusty floor, you might want to reconsider this particular shoe. If you're going to play outdoors, it'll probably hold up just because the rubber is so thick, and as long as it's a smooth surface, or not a smooth surface, a rough surface, this should take very well to an outdoor court. What I mean by surface on the outdoor court is that when I go outdoors, the courts there are just like a tennis court, so it's kind of like a smooth blacktop with a painted top coat to it. So like all of the areas of the court are painted whatever color it is. I think it's like green with white lines, and this stuff it really adheres to all the dirt, dust, and debris. So there's going to be some slipping and things like that, but if you're playing on a rough blacktop surface or even maybe a concrete surface, these should work out perfectly fine. But traction for me, especially on a clean floor, really surprising. Worked very well, and if you play on clean floors like a school gym, things like that, this is definitely a good option for you. Cushion in the KD4 is just like all the other setups that they've had previously. It's a 4-foot Zoom bag. It is full length, and then the rest of the midsole is a pretty dense foam. Heel cushion for me, even though they got rid of the large rubber wrap that was on the KD3, so as far as heel compression goes, it was a lot better. It was a much smoother ride, but it's still very firm and very dense. So someone like me, where I do like a little bit more cushion, this wasn't the greatest option, but it did work out perfectly well. If you want more cushion from the heel impact area, where the foam is located, Nike ID will have two options. They'll have the basic setup, which is in these, which is a firm Phylon midsole, and then they'll also have a option for a cushioned Phylon midsole. So those will be a little bit of a softer ride. Again, you can get that on Nike ID when they release. Now, as far as the 4-foot cushioning goes, it is a 4-foot Zoom bag, so it goes full length from side to side, and I really couldn't feel it. it had me actually doubting if there was actually zoom in here, and what I ended up doing was I got kind of bored one day while I was injured, and I decided to check to see if there was any zoom bag in there whatsoever, which there is. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but there is a zoom bag in there. Unfortunately, I popped mine, which was a bummer. As soon as the air released, I was not happy. I was pretty mad at myself. But anyways, it is in there, and I just couldn't feel it. I don't know why. I think it's from the setup. The rubber out here is very thick, so that could have been a cause for it. Not positive, but anybody that has worn these already might agree with me that, you know, forefoot cushioning isn't all that, even though it is zoom based. So you know, if you're looking for a super cushioned shoe, this is definitely not something that you would be interested in. So the material on the KD4 is a fuse based upper. One thing that I do really like about these is it's very similar to the Flyway 2's fuse base, where it's not super thick, and it's not very stiff. So after a few break-in games, you know, I'd say maybe about 2 or 3 4-hour sessions, this stuff started really to loosen up, especially in the flex points where you would need it most. And with it being fuse, it is very, very durable. So a lot of the fuse-based sneakers, they're predominantly made for outdoor surfaces and things like that. That way it can hold up outdoors, because that's pretty much where your shoes get thrashed the most versus indoor. But whether you're playing indoor or outdoor in a fuse-based sneaker, you're going to really get the most bang for your buck as far as the longevity of the product goes on the uppers. So it retains its shape well. This particular version, again, it's pretty flexible, so I did like that. And you know, it can take a beating. Fuse and Foamposite are probably the 2 strongest materials on an upper that I have come across so far, for me personally. So you won't get little rips, tears, and things like that with a fuse base upper. As far as the fit goes, the forefoot, a lot of problems I've been having with it, and I've heard that other people have been having it as well, is that mine's mainly on the right shoe, but right here you can feel it kind of pressing into the side of your foot. It does go away after, I'd say, at least about a week or so. I was trying to, you know, break these in at home, trying to wear them as much as I could, things like that, and it just wasn't really breaking in. But as soon as they got numerous wears on court, that's when you started to be able to feel it. One of the funny things is that the Year of the Dragon version that I have, when I put those on, they actually fit perfectly on both sides, left and right, and there's no pinching or pushing up in this section here, which is kind of strange because they're both exactly the same size and materials and all of that stuff. So but this particular pair, I was getting a lot of pressure right on the outside of my foot, and it did go away eventually. Again, the fuse based material retains its shape, so it's going to really keep that foot inside of the shoe perfectly. It's going to keep you locked in. As far as the heel lockdown goes, the KD3s had little heel notches in the interior of the lining, which really cupped your Achilles so that your heel didn't pop in and out of the shoe. This version doesn't have that, and the padding inside is not very sculpted. So when I was wearing cotton socks, it didn't have like any effect on it whatsoever. But when I would wear the Nike Elite dry fit socks, the more moisture that my foot would get inside of it, the more slipping I'd get in the heel, which was kind of a bummer, even though I was lacing the sneaker up all the way to the top. So with the adaptive fit technology, that did help out over time. Again, I used cotton socks and I didn't have that heel slip area or issue. But basically, the adaptive fit is, the first few times I wore it, I didn't really feel a difference. But the longer that you play in it, again, the more it loosens up, the more it breaks in, and you can start to really appreciate the things that are inside of the shoe. So the adaptive fit, basically, I'll try to move the tongue all the way down. But the adaptive fit is built into the footbed, So it's attached by the two straps right down here. So hopefully you can see that. And it's basically just sewn in. And then those two straps come through the material, and they have little buckles right here, which is where your strap is in place. And then when you really pull that, it kind of locks in underneath your arch, pulls it up a little bit, and then you lock the rest of your midfoot and ankle area back down into the sneaker, giving you a pretty decent lockdown fit. It wasn't anything super special, in my opinion. I think a midfoot strap or a higher ankle strap would have been perfectly fine, but as far as what they had done here, I really don't have too many complaints. Breathability and ventilation on this particular pair, I thought it was pretty decent. You have your fuse-based sidewalls, which are lined with the mesh, and you can get perfect airflow out of those areas there. At the forefoot, there's a smaller screen vent, and that also gets some decent ventilation. And then you have your tongue here, which allows a decent amount of light, not too much, but allows a little bit of light through if you like put a light inside of it. So you do get some additional ventilation through the tongue. And then on the medial side, there are also fuse vents here, which are a little bit blocked by the adaptive fit strap, but it's not enough to where it like hinders the ventilation or flow of air in the sneaker itself. One thing to note, I don't know if this is on all of the special releases, but I wouldn't say special releases, but just like the special colorways. The Year of the Dragon, you're probably not going to be able to see this, but the screen mesh here is actually blocked by a glossy type of material. I really don't know what it is, but whatever they did to fuse the layers together, it covered up all of the ventilation right there. So if you were planning on playing in this particular colorway, the only ventilation you would really receive is through the tongue here, because both the medial side and the lateral side, and even the smaller vent at the forefoot here, it's all covered by this like rubbery thin clear plastic or rubber when they fuse the materials together. So I thought that was kind of weird. It didn't make much sense to me because like literally no airflow is coming in through that. It's just basically for looks. So the general release colorways, they're all perfectly fine where it's just basically mesh. There's nothing blocking it whatsoever. As far as support is concerned, you obviously have your adaptive fit strap. That's pretty supportive, especially in the arch and the midfoot area. And then you have your basic shank plate in the center of the foot, and it goes from right about here to about here. And it's made out of TPU, so it's just plastic. Nothing too special, but it does the job. I don't know if plastic is heavier than carbon fiber. I'm assuming carbon fiber would be lighter, but carbon fiber is supposed to give you that kind of like spring back as it retains its shape. So when you flex, and then it goes back to its shape perfectly fine. Whereas TPU is a little bit more rigid, so it doesn't have the flex that you would usually get from a carbon fiber based sneaker. Other than that, the only real support is there's internal TPU heel cups. This is on most shoes. You just don't see them, but TPU is in a just like the Kobe's and things like that. It's just internal, not external, and it's very, very thin compared to the thicker heel counters that you would see on something like a Hyperdunk or a Kobe 6 and 7 and things like that. Alright guys, so that pretty much takes care of the review on the Nike Zoom KD4. One more quick look. Overall, it's a pretty good sneaker. If you wanted something that is reasonably priced, durable for indoor courts, this is a perfect option. If you're playing on a rough outdoor surface, this is also a good option. If you're playing on a court that's kind of dusty, the dust does stick to the rubber, so you won't get the best traction that you could if you were playing on a nice clean court or a rough outdoor surface. So cushion could be better in my opinion. But if you do need more cushion, basically on the Nike ID options, when those come out, you'll be able to choose if you want a firm midsole or if you want a cushioned midsole. As far as the foam goes, they'll all have the forefoot zoom in place. So that pretty much takes care of everything. Thank you guys for all your support, for all your likes, comments, and subscriptions. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure that you check out sneakerfiles.com/oncourt for all of your performance needs. And until next time, guys, have a good one.